This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, now, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by mybookie.ag, home of the 100% deposit guarantee. Your first deposit you make, they'll match it 100% just by using promo code GSMC Football. And as usual, I'm your host, Tate, and we got a lot to talk about. Rarely ever do we start a show by talking about the U.S. District Courts, but that's exactly what we're talking about today. U.S. District Court Judge Amos Mazzant blocked the NFL's 6-game suspension of Ezekiel Elliott. The judge, after looking at everything, did not think Ezekiel Elliott's appeal was actually fair. I've been saying that from the beginning. I don't think any of this process is fair. If you go back and you look at this, once again, I've said this before, you have the police department doing 2 different investigations and finding the plaintiff not credible. The NFL's lead investigator finding the complaint, the plaintiff not credible. Now the U.S. District Court judge looks at things and says, this isn't fair, and steps in and puts a block on a 6-game suspension that the NFL has just decided they're going to put in despite all the evidence that, you know, this is someone who's just not credible. When you have someone, if you've been done wrong, you don't try to extort money. You don't say you're going to try to ruin their career. There's just too many red flags. And when you're on the end of the NFL, they're talking about how Roger Goodell might not have had all the information, which sounds really crazy when everybody for the appeal process, everything, the NFL should be working together. This is a prime example of why the NFL needs to get out of being a judge, jury, and executioner. They should not be in the business of trying people for laws that's not their job. That's not what they're brought here for, is to litigate criminal defenses. If a player is found guilty, then suspend him. The player can appeal, but at that point, the player has been convicted in court. Then you fine that person or suspend that person, and then give them an independent arbitrator to come in and give that player, a chance to give their side of the story. This looks bad. This looks worse than Tom Brady's suspension, because a judge just came out and said, this isn't fair. This has been unfair to Ezekiel Elliott. Now, with this block of the 6-game suspension, which means the NFL has to appeal it and take it to court, this pretty much guarantees that Ezekiel Elliott is going to be playing all year. He's not going to miss a game unless it's with injury. This issue will come up after the season is over, and the reason why it will be is because the court system. There's cases that have been on the docket for a very long time, and the NFL is not going to be able to cut in line. So there's no way that you can actually have this get ruled before the season is out. So it's going to be kind of like a Tom Brady situation where he'll play this entire year. It'll go to court during the off season, and everything will shake out. If I was the NFL and I was Roger Goodell, it's time to cut your losses. I understand that the NFL does not want to give up the power of, bringing down sentences. But the best thing to do in this particular case is when you look at it and all the mounting evidence and public opinion, everything's against you, is to just say, here's an out. After reviewing all the evidence and hearing the the decision by the U.S. District Court, the NFL has decided to no longer pursue this issue and just drop it. This is a bad look for the NFL. The NFL talks about conduct detrimental to the Shield. This is conduct detrimental to the Shield as well. Sometimes you can kind of hurt your own self, and this is one of those cases. Cut your losses, Roger Goodell. Get out of this. The next collective bargaining agreement, I understand, the NFL does not want to give up this power without getting something back from the players union. But this is one thing that the NFL has to look at and just say, you know what, we got to get out of this. And I know Roger Goodell made his reputation on being the law and order commissioner. And when it first started out, this was a great thing. But now it's become a black eye on the NFL. Now with the Cowboys, this changes the whole outlook on the Cowboys. A situation where you possibly have the best running back in the NFL. It's either him or Le'Veon Bell. And now you have him for the whole year. You have two great running backs as backup just in case he gets injured. The Cowboys are ready to roll. They're a little soft on defense, but that offense can go against anyone in the NFL. This is going to be an interesting season for them. And for Roger Goodell, you don't want to make this 2 years in a row where you're giving that Lombardi trophy to the same guy that you were trying to suspend with Tom Brady, and then turn back around and have to do it again with Ezekiel Elliott. Now, speaking of Tom Brady, when we come back after this break, we're going to talk about a Thursday night game that just went down. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Ever since I started hosting this podcast, people have come to me for advice. Hey, who are you taking this week in the big game? Are you taking the Patriots or the Steelers? Or Chicago or Detroit? Or who do you have in the big fight? Well, let me tell you this. Before I tell them who I have in the game this week or the fight this weekend, I tell them that it's just as important as where you're betting as who you're betting on. And I always use mybookie.ag. MyBookie.ag has been around for years. They got a solid reputation. And the most important thing is they pay you out fast. There's nothing worse than winning a big, betting on making the right decision, picking the right team to win, and then you have to jump through all these hoops and hurdles to get paid. You don't have these issues with mybookie.ag. Their payouts is as fast as within 2 days. And that's what I like best about them is I can place my bet, get my win, and collect my money. They have in-game, live betting, and some of the most rewarding perks in the business. They also have an all-new mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with a 100% bonus. Use promo code GSMC Sports to activate this offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, we're back. And in the last segment, we got done talking about Ezekiel Elliott and how the U.S. District Courts just blocked the NFL's 6-game suspension. And now Ezekiel Elliott can play not just for the first game, but pretty much guarantees he can play for the rest of the year. And then I was talking about how fitting would it be 2 years in a row if Roger Goodell was giving that Lombardi trophy to the same guy he was trying to suspend, meaning Ezekiel Elliott this year, and last year was Tom Brady. And when you're talking about Tom Brady and looking at the first game of the NFL season, we had an interesting game between Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. And there's a lot of really upset people in Boston today. The Chiefs won 42-27, and it's just funny how you look at the news in Boston, and everyone feels like the sky is falling. The Patriots lost their home opener. Tom Brady looked old, and it's like, guys, calm down. First off, I said this earlier in the week. Nobody plays the Patriots tougher than Kansas City. It's like Kansas City has the Patriots number. Time after time, if there's a tough game to be had, the Patriots are going to have a rough day with the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid just knows how to play the Patriots. Alex Smith does really well against the Patriots. So the sky isn't falling, guys. The second reason why the sky isn't falling, and then we'll get more and touch a little bit more with the game. But I mean, it's just funny looking at all the news, local news, and in the New England area, in the Boston area, where they're questioning has Brady look old? The sky is falling. This is not even remotely as bad as their home opener they had in 2003 against Buffalo. When they played Buffalo in 2003, they lost 31-0. You know what they did in 2003 after losing 31-0? They did this little thing called win the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, they've lost 3 home openers, and they've won the Super Bowl every single time. In 2001, they lost to Cincinnati 23-17, won the Super Bowl that year. I just mentioned 2003, losing 31-0 to Buffalo. 2014, they got beat up by Miami 33-20. won the Super Bowl that year as well. So for all you Boston fans and Boston media, relax. It's not the sky isn't falling. The Patriots are with the Patriots division, you don't have to be perfect to make the playoffs. And once you make the playoffs, you're probably favored over everybody else. Easy division, the best team. I think things are going to be okay for them. But I have to say, Kansas City, holy crap. Who knew Alex Smith could throw the ball? I didn't think Alex Smith could throw the ball past 10 yards. He proved us wrong this Thursday. Talk about a coming out party. As a matter of fact, I don't think that Alex Smith knew that he could throw the ball until he had this new trainer called Patrick Mahomes, their new backup quarterback that they drafted. And I think Alex Smith realized, like, you know what? If I don't start throwing the ball deep, I'm gonna be looking at another situation where I'm looking at Colin Kaepernick take my job. Well, this time he's not letting Patrick Mahomes take his job easy. When you look at Alex Smith, Captain Dink and Dunk, Captain Check Down, it was impressive. He had a 75-yard strike for a touchdown to Tyreek Hill. Then close the game. Then pretty much the game, just locked the game down with another 78-yard pass to Kareem Hunt. All in all, Alex Smith threw 28 of 35 for 368 yards, 4 touchdowns, not one interception. And we were talking about that 78-yard touchdown to Kareem Holmes. How many people was searching the waiver wire on fantasy football saying, where the hell is Kareem Holmes? And trying to figure out how to get the Kareem Holmes on their team. Well, first off, I had him. I drafted him actually kind of early. I think I took Kareem Holmes in the 3rd round of my draft this year. So I'm going to pop my collar a little bit on that one. But Kareem Holmes had the best day of any rookie ever. And it didn't start out spectacular. Kareem Holmes out of Toledo, first off, brought him in. He wasn't expected to be the starter. And through injury situations, he's now the starter for Kansas City. First time they hand him the ball, what does he do? He coughs it up and fumbles. And, a lot of people, if you looked at Twitter was going crazy when he fumbled. And once again, everybody in Kansas City, relax. I wasn't worried about the guy. One of the things I knew is that fumble that he had on the very first play against New England, the first time that was the first fumble he had, guys and girls, since high school. High school, not college, not at a college game. He never fumbled not one time as a college football player. That means that's a guy that's shorthanded. He knocked the dust off and he went to work. And there was no answer. Kansas City, the Patriots had no answer for Kareem Hunt and Alex Smith. That's a combination I never thought I'd be saying. But like I said, Kareem Hunt, 246 all-purpose yards. And they really had no answer. But when you look at this game, and I know a lot of Patriots fans are freaking out and saying, what the heck's going on? But when you look at this game and you say the game was close all the way till the 4th quarter. At the end of the 3rd quarter, it was 21-27. And in the 4th quarter, Kareem Hunt went for 2 more touchdowns. And then Kendrick West went for a touchdown, and this game was over 42-27. So this doesn't really prove that the Patriots, like a lot of people are asking, is Tom Brady owed? No, relax. But it does announce that this whole cakewalk that everyone was thinking that the Patriots are going to have, Kansas City has a say in this. I knew Kansas City was going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. That defense is tough. The running game is spectacular. And the thing that I was most impressed about Kansas City was the fact that primarily they looked at things early on and just said, you know what? We're just going to send 3 guys at Tom Brady. And it worked. A 3-man rush totally controlled Tom Brady. He looked frustrated. He didn't know, because with the 3-man rush, everybody was covered. He got shut down. Pretty much that whole entire second half, Tom Brady was shut down. Normally, you're used to seeing the Patriots take over in that second half. Not today. I mean, it was, it was really, really impressive. Brady, his lowest, it was one of his lowest performances of the year at a 44.4% completion percentage. I think that's like 4th or 5th all time as far as his worst games he ever had. That was on a 3-man rush. Other stats, 42 points. They gave up 42 points. That's the most the Patriots have ever given up. Any Bill Belichik team has given up. They just had no answer. You look at most yardage. Bill Belichik, the Patriots, have never given up 537 total yards. They did on Thursday. And the other one was, once the Patriots get a lead and they're in Boston, Foxborough, there is no coming back from that. This is the first loss while leading at halftime. This was not a typical Patriots day. I don't really freak out about it because you have that guy, you have Tom Brady and you have Bill Belichick. You'll go back, you look at the film, and you will make the adjustment, and they'll be fine. So there's no reason to really panic or go crazy. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the GSMC football podcast. I just wanted this week is a series of short episodes, but we will be back and we'll be talking a little bit about college football next and the upcoming first week of the NFL season. I know Thursday is it was the first game, but I really look at Sunday as the real first day of the NFL season. So I look forward to talking to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And once again, I'm your host, Tate. And to all, have a good night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.